Hey guys, welcome to today's new series that we're starting here at Lucihub. It's gonna be called 12 Months Make Me a Filmer, and I'm here with Aly, our resident filmer and specialist. She's gonna be helping me become a professional content maker, and hopefully this will be a series that can help you guys learn to recognize within yourselves how you can become better content makers for your companies and just for your daily life in general. So today we're gonna keep it pretty simple. As we progress, we're gonna get into more and more advanced concepts, obviously. I know nothing, I should clarify, about filming. I've filmed concerts that I've been to, and that's about it.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of the iPhone, is that it just, or any smartphone really, is that it does most of the work for you. So it's really just, you know, owning in on like specific skills. So I think today we'll start with your phone settings, because I think that's something that a lot of people really know or dive into. They just kind of come, you know, start filming with whatever's on the iPhone already. So
that's very true. I've never looked at my phone settings for camera. I've always just done the regular stuff, and then sometimes I've pressed slow-mo and been like, oh, this is cool, how do I do this? And I've never done it good. Like she said, today we're gonna get into some basic concepts on just what we can do with the smartphone itself. And as you said, some of the key features about filming on the iPhone: it's easy, it's always in your pocket, and it's basically a lot of the technology that's in our iPhone today is quite advanced for the camera, wouldn't you say? It's pretty on par with.
It's definitely getting better for sure.
And everybody kind of has one, so this is why it's good, because these are techniques that you can take into your own life and learn how to make your own filming processes better. So as she said, today we're gonna look at some of the camera settings that we have here, pretty basic stuff, and just how to optimize our iPhone for filming, and then we'll see what we can learn from that. So I have no idea. Like we said, we're looking at our iPhone here.
Yeah, so let's start with frame rate. Let's go into your camera app maybe.
Okay, so we're on the camera setting app and we're under video, and now you said the frame rate. Now, what is frame rate?
So that is frames per second. It's essentially how many, I guess, images like per
you see in a
video. Yeah.
Okay.
So 24 frames per second is what you see in most cinematic movies. It's very smooth. 30 is pretty standard, and then 60 frames per second. It's a lot more frames, and it's how you're going to convert to slow motion.
That's interesting, because like I would think that more frames would be smoother. So like in my mind, I would think, oh, 60 would be more smooth than 24 frames.
Yeah, I mean, when you convert it to slow motion, it definitely is. It's also, if you see like a lot of like high action, you know, they typically use 60 as well, but not slow it down.
So the
24,
the 24 is definitely like a soap opera, kind of very.
Actually, it's very interesting to point that out. I think 60 is very soap opera.
Oh,
which is why it looks weird.
Interesting. That is very interesting.
Like,
it's got that kind of, I don't know, like it's like they're gliding.
Yeah, it's very weird. Yeah, it's weird.
There's obviously, I guess, a way to control the frame rate here, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So you can just click up here
on the top right corner.
Yeah, 30. 60, 24.
I've never done that before. Okay, that's interesting, and it's so simple in the top right over here. Okay, what would you recommend to film in? Would it be 24, 30, 60?
Yeah, 30 is always, it's pretty standard.
So you would just say 30 is kind of fine. And then also I noticed up here in the top right corner, there's another button that you clicked here, and this is something else. It looks like 4K. HD. What is that?
So that's the resolution. I mean, you can do either HD or 4K. I like 4K because it gives a little bit more clarity to the videos, especially, you know, if you're giving it over to Lucihub, it gives our editors a little bit more to work with. You know, as far as like zooming in, it's not going to be grainy. So I like 4K, but you know, it takes up a lot more space in your phone storage.
Okay, so it's a bigger file.
Yeah, it's a bigger file size. So HD is like, you know, totally fine. But yeah, it's just preference. It depends what you're filming as
Interesting.
well.
I've never touched that button either. So I didn't even know those buttons were there. They don't look like buttons, that's probably why. Another feature obviously is the focus and exposure. What is focus and exposure? I really have no idea.
Yeah, so
I'm assuming it's like when you touch the screen and it auto focuses in on that section of whatever.
Yeah, and then also if you touch it and you see this light, you can actually drag it down.
Oh my God.
And this, you see how it's getting darker?
I didn't even know you could do that.
So that's the exposure. So one thing you want to look, the cool thing about the iPhone is that you don't have to worry about it if you just click automatic exposure, but maybe you want it to be a little bit darker, or maybe you want it to be a little bit brighter. You can adjust that. What you're really looking for is, you can clearly not see the couch. That's way too bright. So you just kind of want to drag it down until you can see the details in the couch. or whatever it is you're doing.
That's awesome. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm learning so much today. Okay, that's pretty sweet.
And then, yeah, this is just autofocus. So, you know, if you're filming a person or an animal or whatever it is, it'll just...
Based on where it is, like the depth of things.
Yeah, keep focus on that particular thing. One really cool thing about the iPhone is I really love cinematic mode.
Okay.
And that actually is where you would probably use the focus the most because it adds that depth and the blur. Then you can focus on, you know, whatever it is you want to focus on. So like
cool.
if you want to point it to the camera.
Okay. Pointing at the camera.
So you see how the background is blurry? You can touch the background, make it less blurry. If that's what you want to focus on. Or
Oh,
focus
that's so
on the
cool.
Camera. Yeah.
Look at the couch, and now everything in the background is blurry.
There you go.
The couch. Wow. This is so cool. I didn't even know you could do this.
Yep.
What the difference of the cinematic mode versus the regular video mode? What is it? I guess
It's that blur in the background.
It's just the blur in the background.
Yeah.
So even if I go to regular video, I see the background is not as blurred anymore, even though I'm focusing on the couch. And if I go to cinematic mode and I'm clicking on the couch, the background is still relatively blurry. That's so cool. Some of the other things here that you talked about was possible use of the grid lines. How can we get our grid lines going on
So
this?
for that, we'll have to go into settings.
Okay,
So
we'll go to our actual settings.
Yeah. Go to camera.
Camera.
There you go.
Boom.
So there's really a lot of different settings in here. You have your standard record video. It's pretty much what we just went over. If you want to like automatically choose what you're wanting to film in every time you open your camera app, that's what it's going to go to.
Oh, cool.
Record cinematic, yeah. So really what we're looking for, oh, there it is down here. There's grid and level. So if you want to turn grid on, that's going to turn a grid on, obviously, on your phone. And this really is going to help with framing later on when we go over framing in our videos.
Let's check it out. Oh yeah, now we can see that there's some grid lines here on our camera, especially if I hit video. Okay, a little bit more apparent there. Very cool.
Yep, and this is going to help with the rule of thirds when we get into that. So
it's also helpful for keeping your camera level. I feel like it's easier to when you're like.
Actually, if you go back, there's a leveler.
Oh, is there as well in the
So,
settings?
Yep, level.
Oh, level.
And it'll tell you if it's crooked or not.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it's especially helpful if you're on a tripod like I was. It was very crooked, and I just used that to
there we go.
level it out. Yeah. Super helpful tools that
line
I
right
don't
in the
really think
middle.
about.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, am I filming straight? I don't know.
Yeah,
Like I'm like, like when you're out especially at a concert, you're like, wait a second, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to figure it out correctly. These things help a lot, obviously, to help you give ideas of depth and just where and how to film. Moving forward, it looks like we can also look at some of the accessories that we could possibly use to help ourselves film content, such as a tripod, gimbal, mic, some lighting tools, some lenses that I guess we can attach to the camera itself, or?
Yeah, there's so much gear now for iPhones. It's kind of funny seeing people build out their iPhones. You can order lenses on Amazon. I haven't tested any yet just because, there's really no need for it for me personally. Mics, we're using mics right now. There's some that put straight into the iPhone, so those are super helpful, super great. I always recommend a tripod. We're on a tripod right now. And just some basic lighting. Ring light always helps too.
A ring light, okay. And like you said, the mics are definitely something that helps to capture the audio. Yeah. And then we also talked about possibly we'll have an episode on using a gimbal and how we can use that gimbal to make our content better. I have no idea how to use a gimbal, how to set it up. I know none of this stuff. So some of the stuff that we learned today is using those grid lines to help us, well, not just the grid lines, but using grid lines, going into our camera settings and also playing with different settings there. The cinematic mode, which is definitely something I'm gonna be using a lot more because it's pretty freaking cool being able to blur out different things in the background and the foreground. Using the exposure, using the focus, and also the different frame rates that we can capture video, which is really cool. I've never played with any of that stuff, so I'm actually kind of excited to shoot some stupid things. I don't know, see what I can get back.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So on this journey, obviously this is day 1 of our new series, 12 Months Make Me a Filmer. On this journey, I'm gonna take you guys with me. We're gonna learn from the video mastermind, Aly herself, and the idea is at the end, I'll be able to hopefully create some really cool video content that I was able to shoot by itself, because I can tell you right now, some of the video stuff that I shoot is not as good or up to quality as the stuff that Aly shoots. So at the end of this 12-month journey, the goal is, can I shoot as good as Aly?
Yes.
Well, we'll find out. Thank you guys for joining in today. Be on the lookout for our next episode.
Hi guys.